As you go through the seated roll down and come back up to the top, you will create a sort of hollowing out or hollow hold through your core, particularly between your hips and through your transverse abdominals. To start, sit down on the ground with your knees bent comfortably in front of you and extend your arms straight ahead. You can place a yoga block, small Pilates ball, or even a pillow or towel between your knees to help your low transverse abdominals show up and remain engaged throughout the exercise. Slowly start to roll down 1 millimeter or one vertebrae at a time, thinking about dropping down into the back of your hips, feeling your pelvis rotate under and your back slowly sinking toward the ground. Think about pulling your pubic bone up toward your head and ribs staying down and connected to your core and hips. You can add breath work to this by pausing as you roll down and inhaling into your sides and back, exhaling, thinking of hip bones, abs, and ribs wrapping around toward each other and hollowing out the front. Only go down as far as you can to still keep that hollowed out feeling in the front while opening and lengthening in the back. To come back up, think of pulling your chest and torso up over your pelvis, making sure you don't thrust or flare your ribs or arch your back. Keep your pelvis tucked under by maintaining the shortening of your core in the front and lengthening through your spine in the back. Your hip flexors will help a little bit with this exercise, but you should feel much more abs than hip flexors throughout. If you feel your quads and hip flexors taking over, you can drag your heels back on the ground to engage your hamstrings without actually moving your feet. Also check that your neck is nice and relaxed by moving your head side to side. Check in with your core on the way down and up to see that you're keeping your low transverse abdominals pulled flat and hollowed out as much as possible, so there's no lower belly pooching or coning out through a diastasis. Also try to avoid your rectus abdominals from becoming overly dominant here, which would look like something we call more of a bread loaf appearance, where you get a whole ridge of your abs up the midline. I didn't show this in this video, but if you have a hard time preventing coning with a diastasis, or if your abs are not quite strong enough to maintain the hollow hold throughout the exercise, you can use a band, cable, towel, TRX strap, almost anything you can find around the house or gym, and anchor it slightly above and in front of you to hold onto with your hands and reduce your load as you roll down and pull yourself back up.